me a moment to just set up some of my tech props I have in my bag here, and in a moment, we're going to start with a little meal because I really want us to be all friends and to get to know each other a little bit. So my team are here. Some of my team, there's a couple of people missing. We come over as a group of 6, and any successful person knows that team is everything. So these guys are the ones that make things happen, and they're going to hand out the meal. We roll some music while we hand out the meal, maybe. You might be wondering what is a guy who's based his restaurant around Australian culture, Indigenous Australian culture, small farmers doing handing out junk food. Well, on the back of this packet here, it has the address where generations of bespoke confectionery makers have laboured over cauldrons made from the finest copper and crafted these highest quality, iconic New Zealand jet planes. And that address is 323 Canterbury Road, Ringwood, Victoria, Australia. And that is exactly 36 kilometres from Attica. So whose local ingredients are these really now? So hey, I'm not here to talk to you about how to cook, except to say that there really is no shortcut to technical excellence. You have to put in the hard yards, but cooking is so much more than that. What I can offer is a little perspective from a Kiwi from rural North Taranaki. I can also do pretty mean impersonation of an Australian. How are you, mates? Oh, good mate. You can take the Kiwi out of the accent, but you can never take the Kiwi out of the boy. Damn, what a trip it is to be back in Wellington. So many memories here. And how good is your city? It's my favourite New Zealand city, one of my favourite cities in all of the world. And the 5 years that I lived here were some of the happiest times in my life. I could spend the next 20 minutes talking to you about stories like the time in the year 2000 that I helped Mark Lineker paint the ceiling of Attica Fish Shack. Only the ladder broke and I fell backwards off the ladder, landed on the toilet, smashed the toilet, hurt myself, but they really don't make toilets like they used to. And I won't bore you with the time at Chef 5 when I was threatened with my own boning knife by a homeless man who was high on methylated spirits. Well, actually, I do want to bore you with that story a little bit because that moment was terrifying. A man came into the kitchen, picked up my boning knife, and then started cackling and came towards me. And I grabbed his arm, but he was very determined, and I couldn't overcome him by myself. And then out of the blue, a man called Pierre Bugeaud came to my aid. And Pierre Bugeaud, many of you know, was a Wellington chef. He was my head chef. Sadly, Pierre took his own life this year, and I know he would have friends in the audience, and I can see Rex Morgan, my mate up there, who would have known Pierre, and also Mark Lineker. For me, that is the ultimate act of selflessness. It's the rarest human, commodity, if you like. Pierre had no regard for his own safety, but he saw me as somebody who needed to protect, and he took the guy down. And so in a way, Pierre saved my life. And I'd like to pay a little tribute to him because he's no longer with us, and hopefully, he won't be forgotten. And my memory of him will always be as a kind man who put the needs of others first and who protected kind of green young kids from Taranaki, from the bullies in the kitchen at the time. And it makes me think, really, as an industry, do we do enough around our mental health? It's the second time this year that I've lost a close friend to the same circumstance and the same age. And so the question begs, are we asking each other often enough, are you okay? How are you going? Can you meet up for a cup of tea? And just, check in on people. I'm not an expert, but I think, a conversation a lot of times would go a long way. Anyway, I left Wellington in 2002 with Natalia, my wife, and we moved to Melbourne. And because I had a huge student loan from studying at Waikato Polytech, I only had $500 after I paid that student loan off before we left, which was $17,000. And we moved there with $500. Things happen. We never intended to stay there, but we had a child when I was 27. His name's Kobe. He's almost 13, and that forced me into a position where I needed to become a head chef a little bit younger than I would have liked to at 27. I answered an advert in the paper for a job at a restaurant nobody had heard of called Attica. And I got the job. 1.5 years later, I became a partner, a very small partner, and pretty much it was just a token thing. And then 2 years ago, I became the outright owner with my wife, which for a chef is the proudest moment of my career, because we all know how hard it is if you're a hospitality worker to take control of a restaurant, take control of the business, and to be able to make all of the decisions independently of an investor. The main inspiration from the beginning at Attica, almost through my whole life, is being the DIY ethos of punk music, of independent music. It's been a guiding light. You can talk about it all day, but it basically means you just need to do things yourself, take responsibility for your actions, and get on with the job. If you don't have any money, even better, make something out of nothing. The only issue with that is that I'm the only member of the team that's a fan of punk music, but they endure my taste in music nonetheless. Even these cue cards are actually a little bit DIY, they're completely DIY. I didn't really have much time to prepare a speech, so I made these cue cards in my room at the QT, and I think that one was the menu. That one is something from Wellington on a plate. That one, I'm not sure, or maybe a book that was in the room. This one here, chocolate fish box. I also made an analog, because I'm not that smart, so I don't know how to do a PowerPoint. I tried to make an analog PowerPoint presentation. Weird. It was I haven't had much sleep in the last 3 days. It was a vulnerable moment. I ran out of paper to cut, so I went to the toilet and found some toilet paper. And then I wrote some of my favourite things about Wellington on it. So, KC Cafe, which is an old favourite. Slim Davies and Ortega Fish Shack, they're my family. Slow Boat Records. Slow Boat Records is the greatest record store in the world. Bats Theatre. Frankenfurter. I'm not sure what I wrote Frankenfurter for, but the weather. The wave, the left at Lyle Bay, but it only breaks once every 6 months, so the beautiful people of Wellington. I wrote here, I love Wellington, I do love Wellington, and then I also wrote, Wellington is better than Auckland. And lastly, I said, I love tea at Little Penang, I've just met her, she's a new friend, and we just had an incredible time there last night, and she cooked amazing cuisine of her heritage and explained everything, and her whole family was there, her grandchildren, her son, her daughter, her cousin, her sister, auntie, and it was a really great experience. Anyway, on with this, a little bit of Kiwi ingenuity that toilet paper there. In the early 80s, a big influence for me has been, Flying Nun, and so New Zealand musicians in the Flying Nun label in the early 80s didn't really care about money much. Well, that wasn't obvious that they cared anyway. They certainly didn't have any, but they were, in my opinion, they were just looking for an avenue to publish their art. And that's what, I've always been looking for too. From super humble beginnings, their lo-fi sound, it stood the test of time. And if you listen to that music from bands like The Clean, The Great Unwashed, Chilled, from the early 80s, that's just so relevant now. And you can just hear so many other bands who have been influenced by them the world over. And so it is and it was a world class and of huge inspiration to me. Now I collect those records like a rabid dog. And I guess also what you're thinking from a financial point of view is that not making money from music sounds just like the career path, at least from a financial point of view, of just about every hospitality worker in this room, myself included. I remember a particularly hard time 5 years ago, 6 years ago, when we were on holidays. We closed the restaurant every year for 3 months, 3 weeks, which is a stretch, to be honest. And Natalia and I had, my mother and my father came, who are here today, along with my sisters Tess and Tammy. They're up in the crowd there. Had taken our kids to babysit, very rare, and we'd driven to the country to go to dinner at the Royal Mail Hotel, which at the time was a 3-hat restaurant ran by Dan Hunter, who's a fantastic Victorian chef and now has Bray, but this was his restaurant before. And we were driving there and we realised that there was no money left in the bank account. There's no money left in our personal bank account. There's no money in the Attica bank account either after we'd paid our staff wages. And we drove through a small town of Ballarat and we're shitting ourselves because we didn't know how we were going to pay for this meal. So I had to go to the bank and ask for a loan to pay for the meal for the dinner that night. So ANZ lent me $500 and we went to the Royal Mail Hotel, and then fortunately Dan didn't charge us anyway. But hey, look, money is not the main motivation, right? Is it? I mean, but seriously, it's got to be like the biggest creativity killer, and I certainly believe that. Well, it's at least what I tell Natalia, my wife, who does our books. I never learned a damn thing from praise. While I appreciate it and I respect it, I never learned anything from it. Except maybe the time my childhood hero, Tony Hawk, told me that his meal at Attica was the best he'd ever eaten in his whole life. That was pretty great. But seriously though, you need to be big enough to take on the criticism and at least to listen to it. The first year of Attica, when we were not that great, the Good Food Guide came out, which is the main guide that reviews restaurants in Melbourne and very important. Came out, we achieved 1 hat, which is a score of 15 out of 20, and it's really good for your first year. But I remember reading the review, and there was a line, and it said, "Sometimes overcooks fish." And I just felt like there was a knife that was being stabbed repeatedly in my heart. And it was so painful. But at the same time, I was honest enough and big enough to know that it was the truth. Because we had been overcooking fish. Well, actually, my sous chef had been overcooking fish. But it was still my fault because I didn't watch them closely enough, so it's always my fault. Every single negative experience in your life is an opportunity to learn and to do better and become better than you were yesterday. I live by that mantra. What is Attica? Well, it's beyond sort of an intense desire and enthusiasm for time and place. That is where you are, the history of it, what's unique to the country that you're in. It's really, to me, the ever-evolving culmination of everything that I love in life. People, food, family, storytelling, music, creativity, history, indigenous culture, community, and every single ounce of hospitality that we can muster every day. But mostly Attica is a group of people. It's not a physical space. It's not the perfect designer toilet. It's not the latest piece of high-powered kitchen wizardry. No, it's a group of 35 individuals. And they have a shared belief in quality, in integrity, and authenticity, and they believe in team. Down it, I feel like we could do Attica anywhere. We could do it in a park, cooking over 44-gallon drums, and still affect people in a positive way. Just as long as we have the right people. Full glory must always go to the team. I'm the one on stage, but they are the reason, and their work is the reason why I'm here and able to talk to you. A big thing to me, taking full ownership of the restaurant 2 years ago, was to look after our suppliers better. And I'm sure Rachel will relate to this next bit. We pay our suppliers when they deliver or every Wednesday, without fail. It's the rule. So if you want to be paid when you deliver, you get paid. If you just want to wait till next Wednesday, we'll pay you and we won't miss it. So every single week, the debt is cleared in the restaurant. Now this is really important because restaurants tend to treat suppliers like banks, and as suppliers are not banks, they have their own costs, and they have to pay people, and I want to have good relationships with them and look them in the eye. They are my friends. And it's hard to ask them for the very best thing if you haven't paid them for 3 months. So by doing this, I demand the very best thing, and I respect them by making sure that they get paid quickly. They have the money so they can get more. I really believe in gathering, an external army of helpers as well. So collaborators, inspiring people that you want to bring into your life, people you see and you go, wow, what a person, what a man, what a woman. Something so attractive about them and their skill. And we have a great crew of people like that, from street artists to ceramicists to basket weavers to woodworkers to growers to musicians to vagabonds to just all these great people who are a part of the restaurant. They're not employees, but they help us. And we can call on them. My father is one of them, a builder. My uncle is another. My mates from down the coast were all part of it. I can call them day or night, and they will come, or they'll be on the next plane. And there's been times when we've had catastrophes and they've had to. Recently we rebuilt the restaurant, and my father, my uncle, myself, and 3 of my best trading mates worked 285 hours in 15 days to renovate the dining room. Because that's all the money I had, and that's all the time we could afford to stay open. And we did it, and it was fabulous. It really was. It sounds like a horror, but it was really fabulous. We just stayed up all night. People often say to me, I'm so sorry that I didn't come to Attica earlier. And I always respond, well, it's actually just as well you didn't come to Attica in the early days, because it was really horrible. and then I said, about 2 years ago it was terrible, and even just a few days, it's just gotten better in the last few days. And I'm having a laugh, we're laughing, but I'm actually sort of serious on the inside, and we were pretty ordinary the day before, quite often. And it's about a desire to be better every day than you were the day before. In some small way. I'm not talking about 50% better, I'm talking, 0.2% better, but you multiply that across 35 people, it's a big deal. Another classic line is the old chestnut, you must feel so lucky you've become so successful, and you must feel amazing from it. And to that I respond, well, I'm 40 years old, I've averaged 75 hours per week in the kitchen since the age of 16. I've already worked the retirement age hours of a person who's worked 40 hours per week, So, no, I don't feel amazing, I feel like I'm 65. Reflection is the opportunity to challenge convention. And because I've worked 75 hours a week since the age of 15 or 16, and because of losing friends this year, I look for commonality. You can't answer the question of why, but you look for commonality, and we've all worked these hours, and many of you have done the same. And when you have, some sort of affliction, you compile another 35 hours a week on top of 40, on top of what a regular person works, there's going to be some problems. So one of the things, and I'm really proud of this, and it's, is that this year we've been able to reduce the working hours of our staff considerably. So now the kitchen staff will work 48 hours, and that's really low for the calibre of restaurant that we are. They have 3 days off, and they work 4 12-hour shifts from 10 to 10 or from 12 to 12, and the front of house works 45. And we're really strict about that being 48, not 55. So even when they turn up, and there's a couple of offenders in the audience, even when they turn up from best nature, because they're just such hard workers, and they turn up early, we try just go away for a little while and come back when you start time is, please. I think the biggest thing you can do in your business and in your life is to make it a mission to build and focus on culture. Not just the culture of the country, but the culture within your business. So we instilled sort of some mechanisms and some ideas in the last 5 years to improve culture, because we all understand that a restaurant is two distinctive teams, that a front of house team and a kitchen team, no matter what, they have such different jobs to do, and the different personalities as well. So we do this thing called staff talks, when we gather around a few times a week, around in a semicircle. I know it sounds very kumbaya, but we look at each other in the faces, and there's a roster, and every day a different person gets to speak. They have to prepare a speech, to stand up and prepare a speech, and the only rule is that it has to be negative. I'm sorry, not negative. It cannot be negative. Even when you make a rule where it can only be positive, somebody will play a cartoon about atrocities in North Korea, and then you have to go into service with that in mind, and it's very difficult. But the idea is that we share ourselves and we become vulnerable. And the person down the back of the kitchen gets to know the person in the bar a little bit and understand why they behave a certain way. And then they feel empathy for them. Now, if you don't know somebody, it's quite difficult to feel empathy. If you're friends or friendly with somebody and you know their life, and you know maybe something happened in their life that was hard, you're going to be a little more patient and think maybe let's give it a snap. So that's something we do. That's something that I'm proud of, and we take it seriously. And if you don't put the required amount of effort into your speech, you will definitely hear about it from me. It's a gift to take the time to speak in front of your peers, and you don't waste it. I'm really excited about, because we just finished it the day before we came here. We just built a staff room, which is wild to think of, because Attica is a very small little business. And we only got a staff toilet about 4 years ago, which is also like a big day, It sounds stupid, but you don't have to sneak into the public toilets when the guests are, it's hard, during service. So we built a staff room, and the staff room's like trying to be sort of forward-thinking. It's a room, it's a little bit isolated from the restaurant, from the building next door upstairs. And as you walk up the stairs, you see the awards at Attica, which to me don't mean that much. In fact, I felt like throwing them away, but my staff wanted me to display them. So I displayed them, and I displayed them up the staircase, because you walk up the staircase and history should not be a burden on a person. You walk up the stairs, but then you go in the staff room, there's no awards. Okay? It's like a street art mural done by my friend who's an amazing street artist called Hisco, all around the wall. It's got fresh carpet. It's got nice light fittings. It has a Creature from the Black Lagoon pinball machine. It has a brand new Riga turntable and records for the staff to play. It has a table with chairs for study and for meetings with little lights on it. It has a comfortable sofa with a nice coffee table and stools in another area. It It has a library with hundreds of cookbooks and books on wine and hospitality. And it's like a really cool clubhouse. That's what it is. And it's designed for the staff to go there whenever they want, to use it. During the day, before work, after work, to hang out, to relax, to study. A lot of our staff study. Whether it be wine or food, they need space to study, have meetings, talk about stuff. So that's culture. The other really, really important thing in the life of a chef or a hospitality worker or a human being is mentors, both men and women. And for me, one of the biggest mentors I've ever had is a man by the name of Mark Lineker, and he's sitting right up there. Turn around, right there. Very embarrassed right there. But I worked with him when I was 20, and he really showed me what was up. He was the first guy to do it. But even more substantial than showing me what was up was that he kept in touch and mentored me throughout my life, still to this day. And he was one of the main people who really pushed me to buy the restaurant. For years he pushed me, probably 8 years. He said to me, "Have you bought the restaurant yet? You need to talk to him about buying the restaurant so you can own it, and control it." And I was like, "God, I can't handle it, But that message finally got through, and I did achieve that, and that was the absolute highlight of my career. A mentor in hospitality, we're not business savvy generally. Some of us are, but not many of us, especially chefs. So it's important to have a business mentor, and I have a great business mentor. The biggest mentors in my life, of course, have been my parents, Kay and Rob Shewry, and just their guidance. Just role models to how to live your life, in my humble opinion. The rock band Yo La Tengo, it's a really good band. If you haven't heard them, you should go and buy a record. They're from New York City. I did the wrong thing by them a few years ago, and that's how we came into contact. I had taken a track of theirs and made a video without permission, put it on YouTube, then retroactively asked for permission for it, which was probably a mistake. They, of course, knew that I'd already used it, and they slammed me. And then, when I didn't respond, they sent an email about a week later saying, "Hey, you haven't responded. By the way, we're coming to Melbourne. It'd be really nice to meet you. Would you like to come to our concert?" And I thought, when this concert, it's like that Phil Collins concert where you're sitting in the audience and he points out like the guy who killed the woman, I kept on thinking there was going to be a spotlight on me. They're really full-on fans, and I would expect to be lynched. But I wasn't lynched, and instead they said, "Wait for us after the show, we'll meet you." And I met them, and they were so kind to me. And I couldn't understand it. The first time and the most kind that a person's ever been to me. And I thought, wow, there's really a different way of thinking, here. And so I said to them, "Why are you being so kind to me? I've been a jerk, And they said, "Well, you seem like a good guy, and we just want to let you know we weren't happy about it, but it's cool, we forgive you." And we've become friends, and it's been great because they're from outside of our industry, and they're older, they're in their 50s, and I'm looking to them for inspiration to how to endure. How do you keep the passion until you're in your 50s and your 60s? Because their creative passion, their energy, their performance is really remarkable. And then lastly on mentors, because we're in Wellington, a woman who was a big influence on me when I worked for her, Dame Sylvia Cartwright at Government House. And I talked about Dame Sylvia at the lunch yesterday, and somebody came up and said, "Oh, so great to hear that Dame Sylvia is brilliant," because I never heard. So perhaps because she's such a high-profile public figure, people don't really know what she's like. But I'll tell you that she is one of the most unbelievable people you ever come across. New Zealand's first woman High Court judge, come from incredibly humble beginnings. She's a self-made woman, holds herself with grace and dignity. She's a person of the people. She would come into the kitchen when I was serving her and yak about stuff. She once got a really fancy Audi sports car, and I said, "Wow, what a car, Dame Sylvia." And she said, "Yes, let's go for a drive." And we drove all around the islands and didn't get security clearance or anything, or just no police escort. But when you're at Government House, you made to feel, you are a servant, and your excellencies. And I worked for the former Governor General too, and it certainly was we were the slaves, you know. But she was really a great person, and it was great to be working with her. On giving up, I've never had a single thought about nearly going broke. I mean, I've thought about it, but I couldn't let it happen. Everybody else wanted to in the beginning, and I wouldn't, because I'd been at this restaurant called Lux, which went broke, and I was just a pastry chef. But the feeling of going broke, it was so hurtful, and it was so painful. It took me 6 months to recover from it. Even though I didn't cause it, I felt like I had. Maybe my desserts weren't good enough. You know, I was way too intense. But I just would not hear about Attica going broke. You know, I didn't want to have a conversation about it. You know, no. Like, we can't stop, we won't stop. That self-belief came from my parents because I was never told that something wasn't possible as a child. What a gift. On that note, Visa is the major sponsor of Wellington on a Plate, and I'd just like to say thank you, Visa. Thank you for allowing me to take out multiple credit cards to pay the bills in Attica, and then further extending the line of credit when I max them all out. It should always be collaboration, not competition. We've never competed against any other restaurant. It's appreciation, not inspiration. It's about going to somebody's place and enjoying it for what it is. Enjoying their personal look on it, but not wanting it for yourself. And plus, I was not skilled enough to copy anybody else anyway. So it comes back to my belief that you can only ever be the very best version of yourself. You can never try to be someone else. I've never wanted what others have. Thinking like that is just an excuse for not going after life. I mean, I think we're so busy now that sometimes we need to make more of an opportunity to praise people, but not too often. Only when it really counts. Make sure they really know it. I mean really, really know it. Look at them in the eye and tell them how good their work makes you feel. In that moment, there's not another person in the whole world, and there's not another better meal or piece of work in the whole world. Praise them a few inches from their face. Thanks, chef. No, I really mean it, chef. Yes, chef. Understand that a restaurant is a human endeavour, so try to be kind. Fill yourself with love, at least most of the time. It's not necessarily in our nature, but imagine if you had a child working in a restaurant. How would you want them to be treated? I think we can all agree with dignity. Don't be afraid to look a bit stupid or make a ton of mistakes. Tomorrow is another day, try again, and how awesome is life anyway? And we are so fortunate in this part of the world to have all the things we do. We have so much to be grateful for. Have a conscience about things. Follow your heart, not your wallet. Learn to say sorry. That's not necessarily in our nature either. Don't speak to be heard. Speak when you have something to say. Men, I'm mostly looking at you. Try not to yell. When you yell, you lose control. And as we all know, chefs have to control everything. A cutting or witty remark is more effective. I should know, I learned from Mark Limerick. That red pepper soup is so far below my standards that it's hard to imagine we're even reading the same recipe. That was 17 years ago. What a lesson though, and I'm very grateful for it, because if we just let it go, then I would have been average. Find humour in the hard times. During tough service. Oh, chef, that was a hard one, yes. It was a close one, Chef. Don't take yourself too seriously. Eat Aussie jet planes occasionally. And so don't forget, when you're creating your homage masterpiece to the love triangle between Mount Taranaki, Mount Narahoi, and the feisty Mount Tongariro, that you realise that life is not only a saga of epic proportions, but it is also supposed to be an incredible adventure, the greatest love and fun. So dial it up, let it rip, and roll with punches. Most importantly, no self-pity and no excuses. Thank you.